Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much.
Have you ever wondered why some people achieve extraordinary results while others stay stuck? Could the secret to success be less about doing more and more about choosing less? And what if the difference between an ordinary life and a truly remarkable one comes down to a single principle: focus? Focus isn't just about concentration. Focus is about elimination. It's about saying no to the 1,000 good ideas so you can say yes to the few great ones that can transform your life. Picture this: a child chasing soap bubbles. They run after one, then another, until they're spinning in circles, tired, yet empty-handed. That's exactly how most people live, chasing everything but catching nothing. Today, I want to offer you something better. A philosophy of focused living that multiplies your effectiveness and brings you closer to the life you've always dreamed of. There's a saying: if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's. And guess what they've planned for you? Not much. Most people aren't overwhelmed because they do too little, but because they try to do too much. A finger in every pie, an opinion on every matter, a stake in every game. And at the end of the day, very little to show for it. True success doesn't come from doing 1,000 things once. It comes from doing a few things 1,000 times. That's the real power of focused direction. I once met a young man, bright, ambitious, full of energy. In just 3 years, he started 5 businesses, yet none succeeded. He couldn't understand why. I told him, "You don't have 5 businesses. You have 5 hobbies." He hadn't given any of them the focus they needed to grow. He never gave those ideas the focused attention required to grow into a thriving enterprise. Focus always demands sacrifice. You can't do everything, be everything, or have everything, at least not all at once. Successful people understand this truth. They make hard choices about what deserves their energy and what doesn't. That's why identifying what truly matters is essential. Because focus without direction is just busy work. Ask yourself, if I could be remembered for only one thing, what would it be? Your answer reveals what really matters to you. Maybe it's being a loving parent, building a business that serves thousands, creating art that moves hearts, teaching others, or solving complex problems. Whatever it is, that's where your focus belongs, not on the endless distractions around you, but on the few things that align with your deepest values. And remember, what matters isn't what society says, or what your neighbor, coworker, or even family think. What truly matters is what stirs your soul, what makes you feel alive, and what you would regret not pursuing if today were your last day on earth. Here's the paradox: discovering what really matters requires quiet. In a world that bombards us with constant noise and information, it's hard to hear that still, small voice inside. That's why I urge all my students to schedule regular moments of silence. Time to step away from the noise and reconnect with what they truly care about. Solitude, time alone without distractions, is essential for thinking, reflecting, and realigning with your deepest values. The most successful people I know guard this time fiercely. Now, let's talk about the economics of attention. Not money, though that often follows, but attention itself, the most valuable currency you own. How you spend it shapes everything in your life. Like money, you can invest it wisely or waste it on things that bring no return. Sadly, most people today are attention poor. They burn it on trivialities, distractions, and other people's emergencies, then wonder why nothing meaningful gets done. Here's a principle that has guided me for years: never spend major attention on minor matters. Let me repeat that: never spend major attention on minor matters. Every time you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. An hour of mindless entertainment is an hour not spent building your business, deepening relationships, or improving your skills. Relaxation is vital, of course, but it must be intentional. Be conscious about where your precious attention flows. One practice I recommend is simple. At the end of each day, ask yourself, where did my attention go today? Did I invest it in things that truly matter, or waste it on what doesn't? This daily accounting reveals why your life looks the way it does. Success, as one of my mentors said, is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. And one of the most powerful disciplines is elimination, the courage to say no to good things so you can say yes to great things. It's the wisdom to see that addition often comes through subtraction. Too many people drown in opportunities, saying yes so often that they become ineffective at everything, stretched too thin and scattered. When people spread themselves too thin, the quality of their work inevitably suffers. The most focused individuals I know aren't just skilled at doing things. They're masters at not doing things. They've built the discipline of elimination. Take Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors in history. His strategy isn't complicated. He eliminates nearly every opportunity that comes his way, saying no to the merely good so he can say yes to the exceptional. That single discipline has made him one of the wealthiest men alive. Or consider Steve Jobs. When he returned to Apple, the company was producing dozens of products. His first move? Eliminate almost all of them, narrowing the focus to just a few. That decision transformed Apple from a struggling business into one of the most valuable enterprises in the world. The discipline of elimination isn't easy. It takes courage to say no to things that might work and wisdom to recognize what truly deserves your attention. But over time, it pays enormous dividends. Now, let me share something I call the focus formula. It's a simple yet powerful approach that has brought clarity to my life and to many others. The focus formula has 3 parts: clarify, eliminate, concentrate. First, clarify what matters most. Get crystal clear on your values, your goals, and your non-negotiables. Write them down, review them often, and let them serve as your guiding star. Second, eliminate everything that doesn't align with what matters most. This is the hardest step. It means saying no to good opportunities, interesting distractions, and shiny objects that tempt you. It may disappoint people. It may mean missing out on certain experiences, but it's necessary if you want a truly focused life. Third, concentrate your full attention on the few things that remain. Not with half-hearted effort, but with the full weight of your ability and energy. When you focus deeply on fewer things, you can bring out your best, and that's when extraordinary results appear. Clarify, eliminate, concentrate. That is the focus formula. If you apply the focus formula consistently, it will transform your life. Now, let's address one of the most dangerous myths stealing effectiveness from so many people: the myth of multitasking. We live in a culture that celebrates busyness, equating activity with productivity, and assumes that doing many things at once leads to success. Nothing could be further from the truth. The human brain isn't designed to multitask. When you think you're multitasking, what you're actually doing is switching rapidly between tasks. And every switch comes with a cost: lost time, lower quality, more mistakes. Studies show multitasking can cut productivity by up to 40%. That's like throwing away 2 full days of your work week. Yet many still wear their ability to multitask as a badge of honor. The most productive people I know don't multitask, they single task. They give full attention to one important thing at a time, working in focused blocks with clear boundaries. I once visited the office of a highly successful CEO, and what struck me most was not what was on his desk, but what wasn't. No piles of paper, no buzzing phone, no distractions, just one clear task in front of him. When I commented, he said something I'll never forget: "I don't get paid for busy. I get paid for results. And results come from focus." Remember that the next time you're tempted to juggle multiple important tasks at once. You don't get paid for busy, you get paid for results. And focus doesn't just affect your work, it profoundly impacts your relationships. Have you ever talked to someone who kept checking their phone while you spoke? How did it make you feel? Unimportant, dismissed, disrespected. Now, think about a conversation where someone gave you their full, undivided attention, looking you in the eye, listening not just to reply, but to understand. How did that feel? Valued, respected, important. The difference is focus. The quality of your relationships depends on it. The quality of your relationships is directly tied to the quality of attention you bring to them. When you're distracted, only half present, your relationships suffer. But when you're fully present and engaged, they thrive. I've seen successful business leaders lose their families because they couldn't focus on what mattered at home. And I've known people of modest means who built rich, fulfilling family lives simply because they were fully present when it counted. Here's a simple but powerful practice. When you're with someone, truly be with them. Don't just sit there physically while your mind drifts elsewhere. Give them the gift of your full attention. In a world overflowing with distractions, Focused attention has become one of the rarest and most valuable gifts you can offer another person. Never underestimate its power. Now, let's talk about focus in business and the competitive advantage it brings. Too many companies try to be all things to all people. They offer too many products, chase too many customers, pursue too many opportunities, and end up excelling at nothing. The businesses that dominate their industries are almost always the ones with the clearest focus. They know exactly who they serve, what problem they solve, and how they're different, and they align everything around that clarity. Take Southwest Airlines. They never tried to be a full-service international carrier. Instead, they focused on being a low-cost, domestic point-to-point airline. And that clarity made them one of the most consistently profitable airlines in history. Or look at In-N-Out Burger. While other fast food chains constantly expand their menus, In-N-Out has kept its offerings simple for decades. Their focus on doing a few things exceptionally well has earned them a loyal following. The same principle applies to your career. Those who rise to the top usually aren't the ones who can do a little of everything. They're the ones who master a specific skill and become specialists. I'm not saying you should have tunnel vision. Strategic breadth matters, but it should be built on a foundation of focused expertise. Remember, the riches are in the niches. Solve a specific problem for a specific group of people better than anyone else, and opportunities will follow. Now, let's look at the true cost of distraction, because it's far greater than most people realize. Every minute spent on distractions is a minute stolen from what matters most. The cost isn't just time. There's also the drain on mental energy. Your brain has a limited supply of decision-making power each day. Waste it on trivialities, and you'll have less strength left for the decisions that truly count. Then there's the loss of momentum. Constant interruptions break the powerful flow that comes from sustained focus on a single task. And of course, there's the cost of quality. Distracted work is never as good as focused work. It carries more errors, less depth, and often misses key connections. But perhaps the greatest cost is to your self-trust. Every time you set an intention to focus on something important, yet let distraction pull you away, you teach yourself that your own commitments don't matter. Over time, this erodes confidence and weakens your ability to follow through. The modern world is engineered to distract you. Tech companies employ thousands of brilliant minds to capture your attention. Advertisers spend billions to interrupt your focus. News outlets compete for your eyes with sensational headlines. In such an environment, focus isn't just useful, it's a form of self-defense. It's how you protect what matters most against a constant onslaught of distractions. So how do you actually build greater focus into your daily life? The answer isn't willpower, because willpower is limited and unreliable. The answer is systems. Intelligent systems that shield your focus from distractions. Here are a few that have worked for me and for many successful people I've mentored. First, time blocking. Don't just write a to-do list. Schedule actual blocks of time on your calendar for your most important work. Treat those appointments with yourself as seriously as you would with anyone else. Second, environment design. Create a physical space that reduces distractions and strengthens focus. That could mean a clean desk, noise-canceling headphones, or even a simple do not disturb sign. Technology management is critical. Your devices can be powerful tools or dangerous distractions. Be intentional about how you use them. Turn off notifications, use focus apps, and consider a digital sunset each evening where you disconnect from screens. Focus also requires energy, so manage it wisely. Be strategic about when you schedule your most important work. For most people, that's in the morning when energy and willpower are strongest. Then there's boundary setting. Learn to say no to requests that don't align with your priorities. Remember, every yes to something unimportant is a no to something that truly matters. Finally, commit to regular review. Take time each week to reflect on what you're focusing on and why. Is it still aligned with your values and goals? Is it moving you closer to the life you want? If not, adjust. These systems aren't flashy, but when applied consistently, they create the conditions for extraordinary focus and remarkable results. Now let's talk about the mindset of focused living. Because focus isn't just about what you do, it's about how you think. A focused person knows they can't do everything, but they can do anything they truly commit to. They accept the reality of limits without letting those limits define their potential. The focused person values depth over breadth. They'd rather master a few things deeply than skim the surface of many. They'd rather do a few things exceptionally well than many things adequately. They also take the long view. They're willing to say no to immediate gratification in exchange for long-term success. They know the path to lasting achievement is paved with patience and discipline. Extraordinary results are often built on ordinary, consistent actions repeated day after day. The focused person embraces simplicity. Not because they can't handle complexity, but because they know simplicity is usually more effective. As Leonardo da Vinci said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. The focused person also celebrates progress, not perfection. They understand that focus isn't about getting everything right. It's about moving in the right direction, learning along the way, and making continual adjustments. Developing this mindset takes time. It goes against a culture that values more over better, quantity over quality, and busyness over effectiveness. Yet it's a mindset that serves well in every area of life. Now, let's look at the link between focus and fulfillment. In the end, isn't that what we all want? To know our lives matter, that we're using our time well, that we're becoming the people we're capable of being. Fulfillment doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing the right things. The things that align with your deepest values, that use your unique gifts, and that make a meaningful contribution to the world. I've met people with great external success, wealth, influence, status, yet they feel empty because they focused on the wrong things. And I've seen those with modest means radiate joy and contentment because they focused on what truly mattered to them. The difference isn't luck, resources, or opportunity. The difference is focus. When you focus on what genuinely matters to you, not what society tells you should matter, not what looks impressive on paper, you align your actions with your deepest values. And that alignment is the very definition of fulfillment. But here's the truth. Developing focus in today's distracted world requires courage. It takes courage to say no to good opportunities so you can say yes to the great ones. It takes courage to stand firm when it takes courage to stay committed when others pressure you to divide your attention. It takes courage to stick with something important but difficult when easy distractions are calling your name. And it takes courage to choose depth over breadth in a culture that glorifies busyness and novelty. But here's the truth. The people who make the biggest impact, who create the most valuable contributions, and who live the most meaningful lives are the ones who have the courage to focus. They choose what matters and eliminate what doesn't, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. And you have that same courage within you. The very fact that you're here, investing time to learn how to focus more effectively, proves it. The real question is, will you use that courage? Will you make the tough choices focus demands? Will you cut away the non-essential so you can give yourself fully to the essential? The answer to those questions will determine the quality of your life more than almost anything else. Now let's talk about the discipline of daily focus. Because a focused life is ultimately built one day at a time. Each morning when you wake up, you face a choice. Let the world decide where your attention goes, or consciously direct it toward what matters most. That's why I recommend starting each day with a simple focus ritual. Before you check your phone, before you turn on the news, before you open your email, take a few minutes to get clear on what matters today. Ask yourself, if I could accomplish just one important thing today, what would it be? Then commit to making progress on that one thing before the demands of the day pull you into reactive mode. Pause regularly to recenter your focus. Attention will always drift, but the disciplined person doesn't expect perfect focus. They simply return to it again and again. At day's end, review how you spent your attention. Did you focus on what mattered most? If not, what pulled you off track? What systems could you put in place tomorrow to protect your focus? This simple daily rhythm, clarifying what matters, committing to focused action, and reviewing your results, can transform your effectiveness. Not overnight, but little by little, choice by choice. Remember, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. And few are more vital than the discipline of daily focus. Now, let's talk about legacy. Because at the end of our lives, what matters isn't how busy we were, how many tasks we juggled, or how much activity filled our days. What matters is the impact we made on the things we chose to focus on. Did we build businesses that created value for others? Did we raise children who grew into healthy, responsible adults? Did we contribute to causes greater than ourselves? Did we fully develop our gifts and become the people we were capable of becoming? These are the questions that define our legacy, and the answers depend largely on where we chose to focus our limited time and attention. The scattered person leaves behind a scattered legacy. Small bits of progress in many areas, but mastery in none. The scattered person leaves behind no lasting mark. The focused person, however, leaves behind a focused legacy. They may not have done everything, but what they did extraordinarily well. So imagine this with me. You're at the end of your life, looking back on the years you were given. What do you want to see? What contributions will you have made? What kind of person will you have become? Now, work backward from that vision. What must you focus on today, this week, this year, to move in that direction? What must you eliminate? What systems must you create? What mindset must you develop? The clarity that comes from this exercise can be life-changing. It separates what is merely urgent from what is truly important. What demands your attention now from what deserves it in the long run? The time is now. We live in the most distracted era in history. Never before have we faced so many notifications, so much information, so many demands pulling at our attention. In such an environment, the ability to focus on what truly matters is not just useful, it's essential. It is the difference between a life of scattered effort and mediocre results, and a life of concentrated power and extraordinary achievement. The good news? Focus is a skill. Like any skill, it can be developed. With practice, with the right systems, with consistent effort, you can get better at focusing on what matters. You can build a life of clarity, of purpose, of lasting impact. But it won't happen by accident. It will only happen by choice. Your conscious decision to eliminate the non-essential so you can devote yourself fully to what truly matters. That choice begins today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when things finally slow down, because they never will. The choice is now. So ask yourself, what will you focus on? What will you eliminate? What systems will you create to protect your focus from distraction? The quality of your answers will shape the quality of your life in the years to come. Remember, focus on what really matters to you, not on what society insists should matter, not on what looks impressive on paper, and not on what others expect of you. Focus only on what truly, deeply matters to you. Do this consistently, and you won't just achieve extraordinary results. You'll create a life of meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. A life you can one day look back on with pride and satisfaction. The power of focus is within your reach. The only question is, will you take hold of it? Thank you for allowing me to share these ideas with you today. Wishing you health, happiness, and remember to subscribe to my channel, Mindset Daily.